Yeah?
Yeah, the strongest I've ever, and I know you since you're 13. I think this impressed the shit out of me. Nothing impresses me. You know, I'm gonna tell you the truth, I don't lie.
Mike Tyson recently revealed he's in the best shape of his life, practically breaking the internet. Meanwhile, Jake Paul lounges, patting his belly between junk food bites, claiming, "I'm not fat." It's a prime example of delusion, or should I say, boyish dreams. He hasn't matured enough to understand the reality of what he's signed up for.
Such a power puncher. He used to speak to my mum on the phone regular, oh, Mrs. Egan, chatting away, and she'd say to him, "Oh, Mike, thank you so much for looking after my son." But he was minding me as well.
With every boxing legend watching, experts say the November 15th showdown feels more like a tragic comedy than a real competition, 100% predictable. However, Mike Tyson's insane muscle transformation has erased even the smallest doubt about the outcome, leaving little room for uncertainty in this fight.
Yeah?
Yeah, the strongest I've ever, and I know you since you're 13. I think this impressed the shit out of me. Nothing impresses me. You know, I'm gonna tell you the truth, I don't lie.
Mike Tyson, the absolute juggernaut, is making headlines and terrifying boxing fans worldwide. Why? At 58, nearly 6 decades on this planet, he's in a shape so terrifying it could make the Grim Reaper reconsider his own job security. Tyson isn't just in good shape, he's in asterisk holy, call the authorities shape. We're talking about a man who was pulverizing legends long before Jake Paul even learned how to spell boxing. Now Tyson's dropping training videos that could give even the bravest nightmares, the kind that'll make people who sleep with the lights on think twice before closing their eyes.
1, nice tight. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Jake Paul, the beloved YouTuber turned punching bag, is likely nervously rehearsing his pre-fight excuses. Let's not forget Jake's usual shtick. He prances around with that smug, unearned swagger, acting like he's the second coming of Muhammad Ali. In reality, he's barely survived matches against people who train for reality TV combat. He seems to think his 30-year age advantage means something. How adorable. Jake, you're not stepping into a content column. You're about to share a ring with a man who has mastered the fine art of turning people into unconscious blobs.
Leaked some of the sparring footage ahead of his fight against Jake Paul, and honestly, I'm getting pretty worried for Jake. Here's the full clip.
Nice left hook. Was good for today. Yeah, I told it. You sure? Yeah, me too.
Gene Kilroy, the guy who worked with boxing legends like Muhammad Ali, once said he'd never seen Tyson this fierce, not even during Iron Mike's bone-crushing prime. Kilroy didn't lose sleep then, but now, watching a 58-year-old Tyson with the punching power of an industrial wrecking ball, he can't help but worry. And then there's Jake Paul. Bless his misguided, attention-seeking soul, who genuinely thinks he stands a chance. Sweetheart, your fans cheer when you survive to round 3 against retired athletes. But this is Mike Tyson, the same man who, even at barely 20, made grown men rethink their life choices.
I think he believes he's the young guy. I'm the quasi-retirement child or whatever they may think I am, and he thinks this is going to be an easy touch.
Let's talk about Tyson in his current form. His fists still fire like cannonballs, his footwork smoother than a TikTok dance trend, and his sheer intensity. It's straight out of boxing folklore. Even Joe Rogan, the human hype machine, had to pause and let out an existential sigh. Tyson, older, wiser, and somehow even more dangerous, could still vaporize most boxers today. He hasn't lost that raw power or primal aggression that once made opponents see their life flash before their eyes. Meanwhile, Jake Paul, the guy can't decide if he's a fighter or a social media influencer.
Tyson to beat Marvis Frazier. You ever watch that fight?
Yeah.
That's my favorite Mike Tyson fight, because that was Mike Tyson before he won the title. It was ABC Wide World of Sports, and Joe Frazier had been talking about Tyson, that if he was in his prime, he'd beat Tyson. And so he had his son fight Tyson, and it was an...
Mike Tyson, the man who once beat Marvis Tyson, has been calling out Jake Paul's overconfidence, and honestly, it's like watching a lion toy with a delusional gazelle. Tyson isn't impressed by Paul's 6'0" frame, thinking it means anything. Jake, Tyson's punches have turned taller, tougher men into shivering puddles. Your height is about as intimidating as a wet paper towel. Tyson lives for annihilating egos, and your delusions are just another target.
Hey, let's watch it, because it's one of my favorite fights to watch Tyson, because it's Tyson in his prime, where he was terrifying. He was so fast, and he would do angles, and he was bobbing and weaving. You couldn't hit him, and he was just calm.
Speaking of legends, Roy Jones Jr., who faced Tyson not long ago, still flinches at the mention of Tyson's punches. Even today, Tyson's hits can make you feel like you've been rammed by a truck. Power that never fades.
You're the strongest puncher that I've ever been in the ring with, ever. At 55 at the time, now I think I'm 57, I'm about to be 58. You're still the strongest puncher I've ever been.
Let's be real. Jake Paul walking into this fight thinking he's invincible is almost laughably tragic. Sure, he's got a beefy 230-pound frame and a few wins, but none of that matters when Mike Tyson locks in on you like a heat-seeking missile.
Mike may look a little bit stiff, but his technique is still there. He has power as well. You know, the power is the last thing to go.
Let's be clear. Power is the last thing a boxer loses, and Tyson has it in abundance. Roy Jones Jr. learned this the hard way in 2020, admitting Tyson's punches feel like mule kicks, even decades past his prime.
Jake Paul, I don't think he's going to be able to take that. It might hit him on the chin like that. We'll see, but it's going to be
Let's talk about Tyson's legacy, something Jake Paul will never understand, no matter how many fights he wins against semi-retired athletes and fellow YouTubers. Mike Tyson is a legend, a true force of nature.
That's not the same 17-year-old boy I met yesterday. That's not the same 17-year-old boy I ran with this morning. That's not the same 17-year-old boy I sat next to on the minibus getting here.
Yeah.
Then Cuss pointed to one of the big men.
Here's the kicker. Some people genuinely worry about Tyson's health, afraid he might not withstand a 27-year-old in his prime. But honestly, these people haven't been paying attention. Tyson's built different. He's not coming back to get embarrassed.
I'm the quasi-retirement child or whatever they may think I am, and he thinks this is going to be an easy touch.
Ryan Garcia, an actual boxer, expressed his concerns too, but even he admits Tyson's power is still bone-crushing. Garcia knows boxing is a brutal sport, and there's no nostalgia to protect you when you step in the ring with Mike.
Not really fighting left-handed. He going both ways. You know what I'm saying? He was squaring up. He was doing things that you really it's hard to train for. So he was just.
Logan Paul, Jake's ever-supportive brother, actually voiced concerns on his podcast. Yeah, it's serious when even Logan sounds worried. He's stressed about Jake not taking Tyson seriously. If the Paul brothers are nervous, maybe we all should be.
Try to fight Tyson. If he knocks you out, but at least you fought Tyson. That's cool.
At this point, I think Tyson's 58, right?
Well, that's not okay. You know, he's like 60 years old. But
how much of his power you think he lost? You think it's still Mike Tyson?
I think like that's the last thing to do.
Jake, you better have a plan B. Those 230 pounds might look good in Instagram videos, but this fight isn't about who has the best workout montage.
Power puncher. He used to speak to my mum on the phone regular. Oh, Mrs. Egan chatting away, and she'd say to him, "Oh, Mike, thank you so much for looking after my son." But he was minding me.
You could be tall, young, and arrogant all you want, but when Tyson throws a punch, it's not about age. It's about decades of mastering the craft of delivering pain.
Hardest hitting puncher that I ever saw. Now, you guys are used to UFC. You're not used to watching boxing, but Tyson would destroy people in like seconds.
Even heavyweight champ Shannon Briggs couldn't help but be in awe of Tyson's speed and aggression, brutal as ever. Meanwhile, Jake, our modern-day court jester, continues his childish parade, thinking he can talk his way through a fight.
So what we've got here is an epic clash where Mike Tyson, a man who strikes fear into the very core of seasoned fighters,
still has the speed, power, and terrifying intensity to send Jake Paul straight to dreamland, no questions asked.